Yeah, IGA for Sandlock.
All right, we're going live, so hang on.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock. I'm going to call the March 4th Board of Commission meeting to order. Today, we're going to have the prayer by Commissioner Sarkella, followed by the pledge by Commissioner Lee.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this day and for the opportunity to gather in a free country. We're especially grateful for all that you give us. We ask that you would be with our constituents and our friends and family and neighbors as they travel about, hopefully trying to get somewhere warm for the rest of the year. And we're also grateful for all who work for the county. We ask that you would be with them and keep them safe. And remember that all good things come through you. In your son's most precious name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Leslie, roll call, please.
District 1 Chairman John Block,
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Roger Ballard,
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Gary Heberling,
Here.
District 4 Commissioner Bill Sarkella,
Here.
District 5 Commissioner Christine Reeves, present. District 6 Commissioner Evans Ehart,
Here.
District 7 Commissioner John Moody.
Here.
Thank you, Leslie. You have a yellow sheet on the table here, and this is going to be a replacement motion for FA 042-25. And you can see the only change to this sheet is indicated with the red indication of no IT related items are to be disposed of without consulting the IT director. With that one change to our agenda, I'll entertain a motion to adopt today's agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt today's.
I have a motion from Commissioner Lee, support from Commissioner Ehart to adopt the agenda with one amendment. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Agenda is adopted. If there are no corrections or deletions to our meeting minutes from February 18th, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Support. Got a motion by Commissioner Moody, support by Commissioner Ballard to adopt our meeting minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. You received your correspondence from Jody through email the other day, so we're going to move into commissioner reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Moody.
Had Melvin last night. They finally approved their wage and fee resolution. Adopted their budget, and they're going to be working on their master plan at the next meeting. And they had one public comment come in, talking about blight. Then I had Speaker Township. I'm sorry, not Speaker, Fremont. Fremont Township switched their payroll system to a local person, approved their assessor's contract, set a budget hearing for March 20th. And that's it. I have work tomorrow and speaker on the 11th.
Good. Thank you, John.
I went to Crawlsville, Lexington, and Lexington Township in the past week and a half, 2 weeks since last saw you guys. Told them all about the CFP that we were told about, and they all jumped on it. You know, I know Lexington Town really needs it for some updates on a lot of things. I know Crawlsville's using it. They needed money immediately too for one of their projects, and Lexington Township as well. So they're all put all their applications in, I think, ASAP.
Very good.
That's it.
All right. Thank you, Evans. I was on vacation, so I have nothing to report. Christine?
I was at PEC and they had a public hearing. They're going to reduce their trustees on the council from 6 to 4 plus a president. They had 2 positions that nobody ran, and the lawyer said that this was the time to do it because you can't do it if you shorten somebody's term, but you can do it if there's nobody in that spot. And they're talking about working on their budget. Then I went to Elk Township. They're looking into putting a new phone system. The library budget is working on theirs. The fire department, as of March 1st, Ernie Kilgus gave up being the chief after 54 years on the department, 34 years as chief. And Scott Lewis will be the new chief starting March 2nd. And they talked about getting new office equipment and computers for their clerk and their supervisor. They talked about crime on the road and MTA grants. They says don't put money up front because grants might not be there. So be careful on if you're thinking you're getting a grant and you were approved for a grant, don't put your money up front until you receive that grant type of deal. And that's it.
Good. Thank you, Christine. Bill?
Carsonville's water project's moving forward. They did have a little incident where they had to boil water for a bit. Looking at some traffic restrictions with town with the bridge being out on 46, and they also upgraded some things regarding the zoning. Bridgehampton's wrapping up their ARPA money expenditures with a generator, and they want to discuss their 2025 pay schedule for fees and board of review. Did some resolutions and also updated their assessor's contract. And then Applegate has formed some committees in regards to things they have going on there. Fire chief had a report of one medicine and 2 accidents, and they had a incident with their rubber roof they're looking at. And also they're looking forward to getting that building tore down. Do we know if paperwork's finished on that or
Yeah,
in the
there's,
process?
I had in my report, they're supposed to be in Sandusky to do those tear downs either later this week or early next week, and then the plan is that they would move.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep.
Well, great. That's all I have.
I actually saw that one of those buildings they're intending to tear down, the remediation must have been in progress because there were dumpsters everywhere and
Okay,
things
yep.
were being torn down.
Excellent.
That was everything, Bill?
Yes.
Thank you. Gary?
Okay, I attended the Sandusky City Council meeting last night. As we just discussed, Nathan gave me a call late yesterday afternoon, and alerted me that they'd done the testing last Friday. The results were supposed to do today, and we're gonna take, so I shared that in the city council meeting last night on the 2 houses on Morris Street, I believe. I also, after our last meeting, I shared that community project funding program that Cole Wood discussed with us and sent us an email. I shared that with my district and City of Snover, the Chamber of Commerce, and with the City of Sandusky. And I talked to city manager last night. They're going to try to take advantage of that and apply for that. You've probably seen the paper and on social media, Sandusky Airport was honored with the best airport in the state of Michigan here about a week ago, and they went to Lansing and received that. And if you recall, myself and Commissioner Muxlow at the time, we also worked with the city and the airport board, and now they're FAA certified. So it was a great award, and they're well deserving for the Sandusky Airport. Attended the Sandusky Fire Department soup supper fundraiser this past Friday night, and then Friday my wife and I attended the funeral for our former commissioner Nort Schramm, and this past Saturday, and tonight they have Watertown Township. It's around 8 Moortown Township, and Greg Holman is going to be at our Moortown Township tomorrow night. End of my report.
Very good. Thank you, Gary. Roger?
Last night I attended the City of Marlette meeting. Their meeting started at 6, and I got home at 9:30, not because of a long drive. I'm 4 blocks away. It was a marijuana issue again. They opted out not that long ago, but it's been brought up again. Had a lot of public comment. I believe it was probably about 2 to 1 against, but they went ahead and made a motion to have the manager contact the city attorney and write up a draft of an ordinance that would allow 1 grow and 1 dispensary, which the people that were there that don't have a property in Marlette already weren't asking for a dispensary, but that's what the preliminary ordinance would read. So we'll see how that goes. That'll lead to, of course, public hearings and all that stuff. Also, there was discussion on the Duff Drain Inter-County project. A lot of confusion on that with people. The city did vote last night. They're transferring $150,000 out of the street fund to that project to kind of relieve some of the pressure on the city taxpayers. Mine went down about half what I would have been paying. So happy to see that. I hope they don't regret it in the end if something comes up that they need street maintenance fund money for, you know. So,
Because that would have been a typical assessment like anywhere else. I mean, if you're benefiting from the drain, that would have been an assessment,
Right.
correct? But this is a scenario where the city's actually gonna pay that for the citizens within.
not all of it, but a portion of it. Yeah, the city's share initially was a little over 32,000. So they're stepping up and paying 182,000. It cut mine significantly. Like I said, it probably almost half. So. But, and then, I guess that was about it. I will be in Argyle Township Thursday night. That's it.
Okay, very good. Appreciate everyone's commissioner reports. Nathan, your administrator report, please.
All right, first topic we already covered. I had the demolition on the homes, the progress on that. Second thing wanted to discuss was that the work has been completed at the health department. So the interior work that had to be done after the windows, some fixing, there was some work with the walls and securing the windows in and everything. Everything is done now. They do have to come back and there's some wiring on one of the doors, I guess, that they have to finish up, but that should be here, all the parts for that this week. So everything's done. The building looks nice. Finally got an upgrade after years of needing it. So it's really nice to see the progress from when you look at that building now, as opposed to what it looked like last year at this time. So, yeah. We're continuing to work with the negotiations committee, the courthouse unions, in effort to move contracts forward. I think we're making good progress with that. Communication's been good throughout. It's been a very pleasant experience, still going well. So those probably we might see some headway on those later this month. I need to talk to John and Christine again and see where everything moves. But okay. All right. New county website, santaliccounty.gov will be rolling out tomorrow. Our santaliccounty.net gov site will remain. The idea is if people navigate to that, it will forward them to santaliccounty.gov. Everything's supposed to be good with that tomorrow. We're gonna get a press release out to the paper. I believe Jody sent that over. Much more user friendly, looks much more modern. I think it'll be better for the public, increased transparency, mobile devices, much more user friendly for those two, which probably half people are looking at anymore on the website. So
I was gonna say, I did check it out.
Did you?
Yes.
Good.
And I went from here to there and whatever, and
You'll be doing a good job.
I like it because it's not, when you first get to it, it's not overwhelming.
Not so busy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's got there's the link, it says, how do I, and you can go to that and it's got some different services you can find and search tools. I mean, just things will be much more accessible for people. It's not trying to comb through, like you say, this initial page of all these documents and like, where's the one I need? So that's very positive. The Earned Sick Time Act. So you guys have probably heard, I know Mac's been pushing out, there's been a lot of talk. There was some legislation passed, and they call it ESTA, but the Earned Sick Time Act. Been talking with legal here. The nice part is our employees already receive more time than what is required by this act. So the requirement was for every 30 hours worked, an employee, for a bigger business, over 10 people, for every 30 hours worked, they must receive at least an hour of sick time. Well, our employees receive over that right now, everybody that's in a union. The only ones we'll have to look at is a couple of our part-time or seasonal help that aren't in a union. We might have to make some subtle adjustments. I think right now some of them are getting 1 hour for every 35 worked, so we might just have to dial that back a little bit to maintain compliance, but we're in good shape regardless. And I didn't know if everybody had seen, MAC had released their initiatives, and actually the Earned Sick Time Act was one of the things they had in their initiatives, which that has been resolved now. Still looking at their revenue sharing trust fund. I mean, I feel like that's been an initiative for quite some time for MAC to get that established so that counties can know from year to year, we're going to receive at least this amount of funding. Right now, that's a little bit of a shell game where there's some calculations and to see what counties receive. What they want to do is establish a trust fund so that the money's always there. And from year to year, like we'll know we're going to get at least $1 million and we might receive a little bit more if there's more money in that pot, but it would just be some security. And it would be much easier from a budgeting perspective if you knew that. So Mac's still working on that. They're focusing some efforts on the compensation for local governments for funds diverted by the veterans' property tax exemptions. A very positive thing that they do, those property tax exemptions for veterans. However, one of the issues they want to resolve is right now, the counties then don't receive that money from the veterans. So they want to figure out a way to maybe have the state take on that burden, but make the counties whole. So look at some state funding for that to make the counties whole. The state solution for funding Michigan courts, that is a big lift, I think. It's an advantageous goal. But the idea would be similar to some of the judges' positions that the state pays for court staff rather than the counties. It's been talked about for a long time. Again, we're talking $1 million, probably $1 billion lift, be very expensive. So we'll see where that goes. And the last thing was the roads. The governor talked about that years ago when she was elected, still being discussed by the governor. Mac in their podcast last week noted that it sounds like the legislator and the governor are kind of on the same page with the roads need repaired. Now they just have to get on the same page of how to make that happen. So hopefully some of that can be done because the governor's, she's running out of years, I guess, to make that happen. So we'll see where it goes. All right. That's all I have, guys.
Okay. Any questions? Appreciate the report, Nathan. All right, public comments pertaining to the agenda. Are there any public comments pertaining to the agenda today? Seeing none, we'll move on. There's no need for 13A or 13B or 14. There are no general resolutions. We're going to dive into committee reports and we'll start with Commissioner Bailey.
Okay, yesterday I had a meeting out at Lexington Park with a representative from Eagle and Phil Porty from BMJ Engineering. It was a pre-application meeting for our Lexington project. Took him around, showed him all the main features. His main interest is in erosion, high risk erosion areas. We've gone through all that process. He's going to double check, but this is just one of the steps to get to the grant. So it went well. The house out there is coming along good. I'm hoping within 2 weeks that everything's final and done. I finally got the final piece of paperwork from my last subcontractor. I've been chasing for 3 weeks. He keeps asking me when he's going to get his money. I said, when are you going to get my paperwork? So pretty discouraging. I'm trying to help them, but they're all grateful for what we've done for sure. We have a meeting tonight. Nothing really too hot on the agenda. I think a mower bids is a big topic. Mental health, I had public education meeting last Monday. Just approved normal reports. It was our board meeting. Currently, just an FYI, they have 380 kids in the treatment or in the system right now, and generally between 650 and 700 adults. So it's a busy place. They do a great job. That's all I have.
Thank you, Roger. Yep. Gary?
This morning, the personnel committee met, and in that meeting, Under Sheriff Nathan come in and we talked about a wage adjustment for the seasonal part-time Marine director, and I believe we approved that at what, 23.45?
Yeah, so instead of starting out at like 16.35, they'll start out at 18.50, and then when they pass their class, they'll move up to the starting wage of a deputy. It's at 23 and some change.
And also in that meeting, we had parts board come in, and we talked about this several times. We approved it. It'll be on the finance agenda in 2 weeks to hire a parks director, a director that's been needed to oversee a lot of things that Roger's taking care of right now. So, do you want to expand on that or?
Well, so the BOC's already approved all that. So there won't be anything in finance in 2 weeks because the BOC already approved the posting and filling of that position, frankly, a couple of years ago, actually.
Yeah, probably pushing 2 years.
But what's gonna happen now is Jody's been directed to go ahead and post that position for a period of 3 to 4 weeks. So that's gonna happen here shortly. And then we were guessing early April, we would be done with that. And then it's gonna be an interview team of the personnel committee, Nathan, and then Roger himself and Parks Board members to interview for that position and hopefully find a good quality candidate. And another note with personnel, Nathan brought up an idea today that personnel is going to discuss in a future meeting, and that's going to be and maybe it's a policy issue too, what is our standard for when there is a position to be posted? Putting it on the county website is not enough, right? These things should be on Indeed and you had a good idea too, Roger, with Michigan Works as another resource we can utilize. So that will be going out and hopefully we'll get some solid candidates for that.
That position was posted at one time. We had one very good candidate, but we weren't paying enough money. He couldn't take it. We since had that reevaluated and that's all been approved. So it did go up a grade or a half a step.
It's a pay grade 10 now.
It's a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that will help.
And I think you guys in the parks world are starting to bring your full picture of what that, you know what I mean? We talked about a vehicle and so you guys have a few more things to consider as well. Sorry, Gary, we can over.
No, that's fine. And as Roger already said, we have a board meeting tonight.
So,
I'm done.
okay. Thank you, Gary. Bill?
Transportation, the pilot bus is finally in and there's 2 more low floor buses will be coming soon. There'll be 12 buses going to auction. So we're finally getting some new buses on the road. The gas and maintenance costs and subsequently gone down because the new buses are all gas versus diesel. So that's going to help with the fuel costs there. We're also looking at the employee contract because they're going to be going under negotiation as well. And continuing to push for additional funding from the feds in the state, or at least making sure that they don't reduce any more than they already have. The pension, we're on target at 86 million. Did some reallocation and approved the retirees for the pension board. And then the highlight was building and grounds. We did a jail sewer trap tour. If you can imagine that, Nathan and I discovered that if you stood a certain way with the breeze out there, it was very aromatic. So
It smelled good.
oh, yeah. We decided we needed to stand on the other side of the hole. So that was enlightening. A firm came out and took a look at that and there might be some adjustments with how that whole thing operates.
Good.
That's all I have.
Any kind of timeline on when that firm is going to have some ideas for us?
They shot us some ideas. They shot those to Nick last week. I told him that he needed to get some pricing from them.
Okay.
And then we could maybe schedule a meeting to discuss with building and grounds.
Did this system not work as promised? Is this a different firm looking at it now?
This is a different firm looking at it.
So it
Yeah.
didn't pan out.
No, I think there was what it was intended for isn't exactly what it's being utilized for. I think there was a little bit of discrepancy there, so. Yeah, it's working to some degree, as we saw. I mean, it's restricting some of the stuff from getting through. It's just, I think the performance could potentially be improved, and it comes down to how much money we feel it's wise to invest into that, because as we saw, it is capturing a lot of debris and restricting it from making it down to the water treatment plant.
And, as exploring the options of things to do with that, if any mechanical, electrical apparatus that would be installed in there is going to be a highly expensive unit. It is
Oh, yeah.
not going to last very long.
No.
And so we don't want to create a scenario where there's a huge recurring cost to the county to keep that thing up.
Could be worse conditions for anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally as bad as it gets, so.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I appreciate you being there to look in there.
Yeah, we all do.
We were trying to draw straws to see who was going to climb down the ladder, but we decided just to stay up on the surface.
Put Vicks under your nose.
No, I was thinking Evans was going to come and do the tour on the ladder for us.
It's not on my agenda.
We got to start delegating better. We got to get Evans involved with that. Was that everything, Bill?
Yes, that's all I had. Thanks.
Thank you for your report. Christine?
I have nothing to report.
Okay, Gary pretty well covered it with personnel committee today. And then Gary and I also had a planning commission meeting 2 weeks ago after our last BOC meeting. And in that meeting, we were able to review and move forward the master plan for Minden Township along with some other BA 116s. That's all I have. Evans?
I met a control last Tuesday. I talked to a few of you about the meeting. I called Nathan and discussed with him. We did approve for them to make a website for Med Control, get that out there, so information can be passed on. They're also looking to get more training equipment because all their stuff's outdated. Half the board was not there, so I made them put a pin in it until we can get the whole board there to vote on it. But the training equipment is quite pricey, but it's needed. So we're gonna revisit that at the end of this month again, and then I'll have more information on that first meeting in April.
Are they currently training EMTs and paramedics at the moment? Do they have a training class going?
At the moment, I don't know. It's all scattered throughout the year. It's when they can get as many participants as possible, that's when it will go. So
Okay, get enough people to have a class rather
Yes.
than trying to train 2 people. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Evans. John?
Last Monday, I went to the medical care facility meeting. They have 81 residents right now as their population. They're working on marketing. They're gonna make a video for their website. And they hired a full-time physical therapist. And that's it for that. And Roger and I have Michigan Works on the 14th.
Okay.
That's it.
Very good. Thank you, John.
John, one time back 4 years ago, when we were going through the whole deal with the medical care facility, if I remember correctly, their goal was like 95. Is that still?
I don't know if they have enough beds for that. I think I want to say that this 80, 81, 82 was pretty,
Maybe that's what it
that's
was.
pretty much the max, I believe, right now.
They've got some beds offline.
Yeah, they have some
Yeah, they
offline
have
because it
some
was up
offline.
over 100, but they took those off and so. Which is good because I mean, if that's about their capacity, that's where they're gonna run efficiently.
Right.
So,
With the staff that they have.
right. Very good. All right. Appreciate everyone's committee reports. I see no need for unfinished business. So we're just gonna move directly into new business. And today we're gonna start out with FA 033-25, approval of current claims.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims identified on the accounts payable report dated February 25th, 2025 for the general bank accounts in the amount of $120,246.51.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, support from Vice Chairman Ballard. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 034-25, budget adoptions, amendments, appropriations, and transfers.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following amendments and establishes the following accounts as listed.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 035-25, authorization of contractor for Lexington Park Managers Residence.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes acceptance of the proposal from Stall's Construction LLC for the purpose of completing the Lexington Park Managers Residence Project at a cost not to exceed $16,498.76 for immediate approval with funding from the Parks Millage.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Moody. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 036-25, authorization of change order for Lexington Park Managers Residence Project.
Santa Ana County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes change order 2498 at a cost not to exceed $4,008 for the purpose of Lexington Managers Residence Project with funding from the Parks Millage.
Or
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there any discussion?
Just to clarify what this is, after Stalls gave their initial bid, our inspectors went out and looked through the project to see, what loose ends there were, and this change order is a result of that.
Okay. Any further discussion related to FA 036-25? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 037-25, award and authorize a bid for Evergreen Park exterior office project.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes TDM Construction of Cass City the bid at a cost not to exceed $25,338.85 for the purpose of the Evergreen Park Office exterior project for immediate approval with funding from the Parks Millage.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Heberlein. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 038-25, authorization to pay Police Academy sponsorship, Sheriff's Office.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the Sheriff's Office and Dallas Stan II and Jaden Howcraft to Delta College Police Academy with funding from the Michigan Commission of Law Enforcement Standards for tuition and allowable expense reimbursement, authorizing payment to Delta College for the sponsorship of the two recruits at a total cost of $18,568 and a total cost of $21,432 allocated toward housing and wages.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 039-25, adoption of amended dress and personal appearance policy.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts a dress and personal appearance policy as follows.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there any discussion? During our last finance meeting, our county clerk brought up the idea of sweatshirts. I did have a discussion with Nathan about that, Leslie. What we determined is that in the policy, there's a lot of discretion given to the department head, and we felt that that would be appropriate. If your office, you didn't want that, that'd be, but if like Doug had somebody out in the drains, wearing a sweatshirt.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
Thank
just
you.
wanted to share, but we appreciate the input. So with all that said, is there any further discussion related to FA 039-25? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 040-25, adoption of resignation form.
Found it. Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the employee resignation form as follows.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 041-25, adoption of animal access and county building policy.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the animal access and county buildings policy as follows.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Heberlein. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 042-25, adoption of amended equipment disposal policy. And this is your yellow sheet.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the amendment to the equipment disposal policy as follows.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 043-25, adoption of amended political activity policy.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the amendment to the political activity policy as follows.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 044-25, authorization to schedule a public hearing, Brownfield Authority.
Recommendation, Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes scheduling a public hearing for the purpose of the Brownfield project in the Village of Port Sanilac for March 18, 2025, and directs the board secretary to publish the legal notice for immediate approval.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Lastly, today in new business, we have FA 045-25, approval of and acceptance of grant funding Operation Stone Garden.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves and accepts $80,000 in grant funding for fiscal year 2024 Operation Stone Garden for the reimbursement of overtime and maintenance fuel for shoreline patrol and protection, and further authorizes the board chairman to sign the necessary grant.
Support. A motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Moody. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. At this time, we'll call for general public comments. Are there any general public comments today? Seeing none, there's no need for closed session or approval of closed session minutes, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our BOC meeting at 1:34.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Lee, support from Commissioner Ballard to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.